Welcome back, JCW fans. I am Kendo, and this is Lunacy Recaps Review. In this video, I'm going to be going over Lunacy episode 77, which aired April 2nd, 2026. This episode featured Joe Dombrowski and Veda Scott on commentary, and the ring announcer was Mark Roberts. Before we get into this video, I could ask if you please take a quick second to hit that thumbs up like button. I'll go ahead and wait for you. Literally takes that long. Also, as we're going over each match and each individual segment, I'd love to know your opinions. Drop a comment in the comment section. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe. Definitely helps get this video out to more people. With that being said, let's go ahead and get right into this thing. Alright, this week's episode starts off with action right away, and it's going to be the Brothers of Funstruction, and they're taking on the debut of the Saint Brothers. Don't really know too much about the Saint Brothers. I know that they are on the indie scenes down in Ohio. I think they said they were based out of Toledo. But this is basically just a squash match for the opening match. The Brothers of Funstruction pretty much tear up the Saint Brothers. It was kind of cool that they just opened right away with a match. No opening promo or anything. I guess with the big lead up to tonight's main event, they were just trying to get right into the action. One of the Saint Brothers there with a tough spill. They do mount a little bit of offense, but the Brothers of Funstruction obviously are the veteran team here. You know, multi-time JCW Tag Team Champions, and they're not going to be taken advantage of. Cool little spots here by Yabo. Nice big kick to the face with that big clown boot. Pulls out the chicken. Nice little double team here. But Yabo gets the 1, 2, 3, and they squash the Saint Brothers. Alright, the first backstage segment is Mac Davis interviewing Big Vito, and Big Vito is quite a bit upset that he didn't get the first interview when Violent J did. He basically tells Mac that all the shit that Joe said about leaving in a stretcher or an ambulance is all bullshit, and that after tonight everything's going to change and this is going to become Vitoville. Alright, we then cut to another backstage segment with Violent J, and he is telling Too Tough Tony and Willie Mack that tonight is very important, and basically if they lose, all their jobs are in jeopardy, so they need to take this one very serious and go out there and just fucking kick some ass, basically. Alright, in the second match, we have the return of the broke-ass Briar Wellington. That's right, no longer the Richie Boy. And he will be going one-on-one with Disco Ray, accompanied by the Ring Rat. This was a pretty good match. Good little start here. They're going for the test of strength. But Disco Ray keeps giving him the fake out, and he does end up making him do a little dance move. There we go. I said, this is a good match. Nice little funny spots. Briar Wellington gets frustrated with the bullshit, pokes him in the eye, delivers that big double hook suplex there. Cocky ass pin. Jeff makes him break it up, fits over the neck. This match had some good spots for what it was. The crowd finally warming up to Disco Ray here, and they spelled out the disco with him. Oh, boom! That big elbow. Yeah, the Juggalos are finally warming up to Disco Ray. I like that. And then this was confusing. I don't know why she just got to get tagged in. Goes for the Bronco Buster, blocks it. Broken out of Briar thinks she's about to get him, but nope. For your efforts, you get Disco Ray. Like I said, this was a very funny match. I enjoyed this one. Ring Rat giving Disco Ray the Bronco Buster there in the corner. I do believe that Briar Wellington breaks that up pretty quick. He gets the distraction. Disco Ray hits him with that panic at the disco. Rolls him up for the 1, 2, 3. And here is your winner, Disco Ray. Second win. Congratulations, bud. Alright, we then get a backstage promo with Caleb Conley, and he says that Vince Russo is not in the building tonight, so he's going to have to take matters into his own hands against Matt Cross. He knows Matt Cross is in the building, and he's gonna hunt him down and find him, and by the end of the night he's gonna get his revenge on Matt Cross. All right, next we have J-Rod coming to the ring, and she cuts a promo basically saying that she is the top female athlete and she deserves to be the #1 contender. She says if Big Al has any balls, she'll come out and she will put her #1 contender spot on the line because J-Rod is the superior athlete and she deserves it. Big Al is quick to come out and accept. She does have a stipulation of her own. She basically says if she wins, J-Rod has to kiss her ass right there in the middle of the ring. So this one gets off right away before Big Al can even get in the ring. J-Rod starts attacking the shit out of her. This one, I would say J-Rod mainly had most of the offense. They really try to display her as the true powerhouse here. And I feel like they did that right because up until now, Big Al has been pretty much the dominant female in the females division. But with J-Rod coming now, it's cool for them to have somebody basically to overpower Big Al. I think that's pretty cool. So yeah, most of the offense here is going to be by J-Rod. Big Al does get a little bit of stuff going there, like a nice little DDT reversal there. Suplexes her. Like I said, she does get some offense, and it's a decent match. They really keep this show moving, and we'll get to that here later towards the end of the video. Is because everybody knows the big main event tonight. Not to take anything away from this match. But again, this was a really good match. That big lariat, 1, 2, 3, and she does pull the W. But instead of kissing her ass, J-Rod hits her with the low blow, and maybe she does have those balls that she was talking about. But still, #1 contender Big Al. J-Rod did not live up to her word. Alright, the next segment is backstage with Vito and Stephen Flo. Basically, Vito's trying to convince Stephen Flo to join his team. He tells him he's going to be a big star, and he basically gasses him up big time. Stephen Flo does agree to be on the team, and so now we have all of Big Vito's team. But again, he gassed up old Stephen Flo big time in this backstage segment. Alright, up next we get another vignette from Father Bronson. And again, he is cutting a pretty good promo. I really like his stuff, and I'm anxious for him and to see basically what the Red Love is going to be all about. These are awesome promos. We then jump back to the ring with Caleb Conley, and he is looking for Matt Cross. He says, I know you're in the fucking building. He demands that Matt Cross comes out. He says, look, if you are a real man, you will come out and face me, face to face. He ends up taking his shirt off, which was kind of confusing. I don't know why he ended up getting shirtless. I guess that was just to prove a point. Matt Cross was dressed up like a cameraman the whole time, right outside the ring. And he sneaks in, and of course, once again, gets the fucking one-up on Caleb Conley. But at the end of the day, Matt Cross was the one who ends up getting the bone. Because little did he know, Russo was there, and it was a trap set the whole time. They end up getting the local police to come out, police, if you will. They arrest Matt Cross. They take him out because he obviously doesn't work there anymore. So at this point, he is just trespassing. Caleb Conley gets a nice slap, and they take him off. All right, well, this is where things are going to get real interesting when it comes down to the main event, because we get a backstage segment, and it is Facade, Big Vito, and Stephen Flo, and they are just beating the fucking hell out of Violent J, Willie Mack, and Too Tough Tony, and it looks like they just leave them a bloody mess. So what does this mean for the main event? Well, it doesn't take long to find out what happens for the main event, because we jump right to it, and it's going to be Team Big Vito featuring Facade, the Don himself, Big Vito, and I did forget to do Stephen Flo's intro, but Stephen Flo, obviously, we found that earlier. Vito basically says Russo needs to come out and hand over the contract for 50% because there's no way that Violent J's team can compete. Basically, because we've seen them get the beat down earlier. Russo does come out, and Russo says basically that a deal is a deal, and the match has already been made, so there's going to be some replacements for Violent J's team. And on the spot, Vince Russo puts together what some might say is a dream team. It's going to be Cocaine. And Cocaine will be teaming up with the wanted man, Nick Nemeth. And the third man is none other than the JCW World Heavyweight Champion, Mr. Anderson. This is a pretty good match. A lot of action. It starts off kind of slow. They all take turns basically wearing down Facade's arms, if you will. Yeah, all three of them come off the top there. But it gets, like I said, this match does get pretty good. Vito with a little interference there allows Facade to get the nice spin kick. Nick Nemeth not meaning to keep the referee distracted, but he is doing more harm than anything there as all three team members beat down Mr. Anderson. Nice clothesline there. Stephen Flo off the top. I think Stephen Flo goes for another one off the top. And I think he goes to hit one more, but takes a little bit too long. And Mr. Anderson does get that leg up. Do believe that allows the hot tag to Cocaine. Yes, sir. Cocaine, man, he has been waiting to get his hands on Vito for a minute now. It's good to finally see that Cocaine's getting some revenge on Big Vito. Goes for the big time Coke Slam. Doesn't get him up too high, but point still across. Maybe that's why wasn't able to get the 3, even though Facade did help. They got the referee distracted. Anderson hits him with the big time move. Nick Nemeth goes for the 3. Only gets a 2 count. Mr. Anderson and Cocaine end up introducing a door, which Nick Nemeth does put it in the corner, and you think that they're going to end up driving Big Vito through it, but that doesn't happen. All hell basically breaks out. Every man, everybody's fighting everybody. The referee really can't keep control, as I thought this whole match was going to be anyway. I was actually surprised that they kept it a tag for the most part. You would figure with all these big names. Anderson spikes him with that mic drop. Nice little kick off the middle there. Cocaine tries to offer a peace offering to Stephen Flo, since they are supposed to be tag team. But I've been saying it for weeks that they're gonna break them up. Stephen Flo says no, thank you. That pisses Cocaine off. Big time backbreaker slam, I guess you would call that. This is a cool spot here. Facade ends up kicking the shit out of fucking Cocaine. Knocks him into the front row, and a fucking tribute to Sabu, if you ever would, right here. Look at this, big time, and lands on his feet. I've been saying it for weeks, man. Facade is a fucking athlete. Vito drops a big time DDT on Nick Nemeth, but to everybody's surprise, that chicken hunting music played, and the Duke, all bloodied up and battered, can barely make it to the ring, comes out. You forgot, I think I accidentally left out the clip, but he ends up hitting Vito with a chain, gets in the ring, big time spear through the door. This allows for Nick Nemeth to come in, and we quickly get a decision. 1, 2, Jeff the ref hits the 3. Here's your winners, Team Violent J, basically, which means Violent J is back to 50% ownership. The whole locker room comes out. Everybody celebrating. This was a very emotional night. Very emotional past 5 months leading up to this. This was a big fucking match. I said all the good guys come out. They lift Violent J up. The balloons drop. Everybody celebrates. This is basically how this one ends. Again, everything led up to this, the 5 months of storytelling led to this, and it was great. All right, overall, I thought this was an excellent show. They opened up with a match right away, no opening segment, no promo. Everybody knew what this episode was supposed to be about, what it was supposed to be highlighting. and they did a phenomenal job. The matches were right what they needed to be. You know, nothing spectacular you don't want to take away from this big main event. As I was talking about during the main event, this was 5 months worth of storytelling leading up to this moment. Only thing I really would have changed, and again, I don't even think I would say I would change it. It's maybe just try it a little bit harder. But I was actually at the last 2 tapings, last week's and this week's, and the next couple coming up as well. One thing I noticed right away when we walked into the building was these balloons hanging high above. Obviously, there's no way you can hide them, but when they did the production and post-production of the show, maybe tried to clip out at least that last week's episode, you could see the balloons and you could see them this week. It kind of, I don't know, I wouldn't say it gave it away, but definitely led up to it. Not that I really thought anybody thought Violent J's team was going to lose in the first place. I probably wouldn't have taken Willie and Tony out. Maybe just attacked Violent J, because I know he can't get in the ring. Oh, another thing I forgot was they did do another vignette for the Green Phantom, and this one he seems to be getting a little bit frustrated. Maybe he's ready to come to the show and they're just not ready for him. I'm hoping with him and Father Bronson, maybe Stranglemania they'll be released, but I don't know. That's already a huge card as is. Maybe after Stranglemania, they'll bring them in. But yeah, other than that, I thought this was a great show. I'd give it a 9 out of 10 for sure. There wasn't very many segments. The matches were short and not very, I don't know, I don't want to use the word exciting because they were good matches. The Big Al and J-Rod match I thought was really good. Even that squash match with the Saint Brothers versus the Brothers of Destruction, I thought that was a good match too. But yeah, like I said, overall, I'd give it a 9 out of 10. It was a really good show, really good lead up, and a great ending. Hopefully, when next week's episode kicks off, I know my man Big Vito took a big loss, so hopefully he gets to relax and somebody gets that man a cream soda. I mean, God, he deserves it. But anyway, if you could, please go ahead and hit that like button if you have not done so already. Please subscribe. I would greatly appreciate to know what you guys thought about each match, especially the main event. It was a good one. Till next week, I am Kendo. Peace and whoop whoop.